Hi friends, welcome back. Isabel here, and today I wanted to walk you through my process of sketching, or rather inking, sketching with pen, but without a pencil sketch. So basically inking without a sketch. This can seem a little daunting at first, and honestly I was a little scared to do it, but I've been just falling in love with drawing straight in pen. If you follow me over on Instagram, you'll see that I've been doing a lot of those. Sometimes I post them more in my stories than just on my feed, but there's a couple there that you can check out. This mixed media sketchbook that I'm working in is the Canson mixed media sketchbook, and when I finish it, I'll have a sketchbook tour and you will see a lot of hands done with pen, because I've just really been enjoying that lately. There's something just so satisfying about making a mark and having it to just live with it and, adjust the perspective of the rest of the fingers if you get one kind of off to make it so that it doesn't look entirely like they have broken fingers. But there's also something wonderful about the imperfectness and the permanence of pen. At first, I was sketching with a micron more and a ballpoint pen, and I was doing some more portraits, but I've really wanted to improve the way that I draw hands and figure out a way that feels good to me, that feels like my style. So I decided to just go for drawing hands right in pen, which is a little scary considering that hands are one of the trickiest things to draw, but they're so satisfying when you get them right. I got this pen for Christmas. It's the Pentel Brush Pen, and I adore it. It's wonderful. Definitely recommend this pen. It's kind of pricey, but it's a good, birthday present if you have a birthday coming up. It's a nice pen. All right, getting into this. The first thing that I like to do is pick a good reference, obviously. It's really important to have one where there's a definite shape to the hand, and it also is helpful if there are pretty defined shadows. Although you don't want to go for one of the photos that has really only two tones. That can seem like a good idea given that we're only working with straight black and straight white here, but it can be a lot of black. If you pick a hand that's, lit from below and the entire top is black, you're going to have a tough time getting the contrast that you need to define the shapes. So pick one that has some shadows, isn't completely washed out, but isn't extremely contrasted, if that makes sense. You're going to add your own contrast. The next thing that I like to do is pick an anchor point to start from. So usually it's the first finger that's poking up is what I go for. So if there's a finger that is sticking straight up and the rest of them are curled, I'll start with the tip of that finger and draw down from there just to get that one reference point out. Usually it's the index finger that I draw first, because I find that one really just sets the tone, and you can sort of modify the shapes and the length of the other fingers if you mess that one up. But like if you start with the thumb and then you make the fingers way too long, it's kind of hard to fix that. So I draw that anchor finger and then I just kind of go from there. It's really important with this exercise to understand negative space. So you don't want to draw just the outline. You want to draw the shapes of the space that's not there. Basically, instead of drawing a finger, I'm drawing the space in between the fingers, and if you get that shape correct, it's going to be so much more accurate. So that's what I try to focus on. Obviously, it's a mix of drawing both the positive and negative space. It takes some training for your brain, and obviously I'm not perfect at any of this, but that's been helpful for me. And then once I have the general outline done, I'll go in with some more distinct shadows. I really like drawing a thicker line around one edge of the fingers. It can help you correct a lot of mistakes. So if you make a finger too skinny, you draw the outline more outside the shadow, If it's too thick, then you can draw it inside and make the other fingers a little bit fatter to match that. So that's just a really helpful technique, and it also adds some of the definition back into the basic hand shape. So especially like on the first hand that I drew there, the center part underneath the 3 curled fingers was looking really flat, and you couldn't see the curve of the palm where the fingers are folding over, like the thumb muscle and the edge of the hand. So just coloring that entire space in black really helps to define the movement of the hand. Also, it's just really satisfying to drag the pen out and just make that thick black line. It's honestly just fun. So that's why I do it. But it also helps correct mistakes. Something that's important with this exercise is to not focus on your mistakes, because you can't fix them. And trust me, I've done a lot of these, and the more you try to fix it, the worse it's gonna get. So you really just have to go with the flow. Another thing that's helped me in the very beginning stages of the process is to mark out where I want the fingers to start. I did that on the second hand most prominently, but I'm kind of eyeballing it in my head on the rest of them. And then draw the basic line, if you feel confident enough, of the fingers so that you really get an idea of how they're fitting in the space. So on the third hand, I drew the lines of the first third of each finger, if that makes sense. So up to the first knuckle, I drew that out and then made sure that I liked where those all were, and then drew the rest of the fingers each on their own to make them all line up. And I'm sorry about that one, about the recording process for that one, by the way. My hand was covering it a lot, and I'm kind of mad at myself about that because I really liked how smoothly that one came out. Funnily enough, with these, my favorites are the first and second ones. I do like the third one too. The fourth one, I went overboard with the shadows and tried to make it work, and it's not my favorite. So yeah, you just have to let yourself make mistakes and let yourself make really distinct marks and enjoy the process. Just fill up a page, and if you don't like it, move on to the next one. This exercise has been really good for me in figuring out how hands work. It's not really like an anatomy looking at muscles exercise, but it helps you figure out the relationship of all of the parts of the hand, if that makes sense. So you really have to figure out what the spacing looks like and how they all work together in order for this to come out nicely. And obviously I've had practice drawing hands with pencil before, and I kind of started doing this out of laziness because I didn't want to do the pencil and then ink it. So, sometimes laziness is really good and it helps you learn more. Okay, I'm not sure where I was going with that, but we're at the end of the video now, so I'm gonna leave you. Hope you enjoyed this, and let me know if you are gonna try this out. And also let me know which one was your favorite of the 4 hands. All right, I will see you next week. Bye.